Daniel Ricciardo, also known as the Honey Badger or simply Danny Rick, has been around the F1 world for a while. Years have passed by, and the Australian driver's smile is one that remains in the paddock. Being arguably one of the best drivers on the grid, overperforming in some midfield cars throughout his career, he has never had a proper shot at the championship, despite this being his ambition and childhood dream. Let's take a look at his story in Formula One. The Honey Badger made his debut in Formula One in 2011, over a decade ago. That time, he entered the championship in the middle of the season, replacing Naren Kartheiken in the HRT team. At a time when there were more teams and drivers in the main category, Daniel had a decent performance, equaling his teammate Antonio Liuzzi's performances. His best race result was an 18th place and a 21st in qualifying. He finished in 27th place in the championship. For the 2012 season, he would secure a full-time F1 seat in Red Bull's second team, Scuderia Toro Rosso. Daniel had been a Red Bull Academy driver for a few years and had been the reserve driver for both Red Bull and Toro Rosso during the 2010 season, along with Brendan Hartley. 2012 was a solid season for Ricciardo, who managed to score points on a few occasions. This was enough to finish P18 in the championship with 10 points, but most importantly, secured him a seat for the following season with the team. 2013 was an even better season for the Aussie, who, in spite of not having a good car, managed to overperform. Throughout the season, he consistently qualified for Q3. He also took part in the Red Bull Junior tests. After some rumoring, at the start of September, he was confirmed as a Red Bull driver for the following season, next to the four-time world champion, Sebastian Vettel. The end of his season was not as good as the rest of it had been, managing to score points in just 2 of the final races. He ended up with 20 points, which put him on P14 in the championship. Becoming part of the team that had won the last 4 consecutive driver championships definitely seemed to give him a good opportunity to go for it. However, things would not pan out the way he expected. 2014 was probably his strongest year. Despite the car not being as competitive as the previous years, after the new V6 engine regulations, he managed to get the first win of his career in Canada and 2 more in Hungary and Belgium. He also had 5 third-place finishes, which helped him not only beat his world champion teammate Sebastian Vettel, but also secure P3 in the championship, behind the dominant Mercedes duo of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. 2015 seemed like a good chance to fight for the championship, but despite having solid performances on the preseason tests, Red Bull ended up not only behind Mercedes, but also behind Ferrari and Williams, being the 4th fastest car on the grid. Ricciardo had just 2 podiums, a 3rd place in Hungary and a 2nd place in Singapore, behind his former teammate and now Ferrari driver, Sebastian Vettel. After a very poor end of the season, his teammate Daniel Kvyat overtook him in the championship as well. In 2016, Red Bull made another step forward, which placed them near Ferrari, but still very far from Mercedes. It was a very consistent season for the Honey Badger, who won in Malaysia and got 4 P2 finishes, including the famous one in Monaco, where he was set to win the race but was screwed by his pit crew, and 3 P3 finishes. He ended up P3 in the championship again. On what seemed could be another good crack at the championship, 2017 was unfortunately another irregular season. He only managed to win 1 race in Baku, and also got a 2nd place and 7 third places throughout the year. He was also forced to retire on 5 occasions due to mechanical failures. Despite all of this, Danny Rick ended up being the best of the rest, finishing P5 in the championship behind the Mercedes and Ferrari pairings, yet very far from the lead. 2018 would be his last season in the team. Again, it was very affected by mechanical issues and retirements, with 8 in total, which you might know is a massive amount. One of these was the famous crash with his teammate Max Verstappen in Azerbaijan. Luckily for him, he managed to avoid another potential retirement after losing power mid-race in Monaco. However, he ended up winning on what was, surely, one of the best weekends of his career. He had also got another win in China before, but other than that, it was a pretty irregular season. He finished P6 in the championship. For the 2019 and 2020 seasons, Ricciardo made a change. Realizing that he would not have the chance to fight for the championship in Red Bull, he signed a contract with Renault for the following 2 seasons. The first one, with Nico Hülkenberg as a teammate, was not too good. His best result was P4 both in qualifying Canada and race Italy. He ended up P9 in the championship, well ahead of Hülkenberg. In 2020, he raced alongside Esteban Ocon. This was a very strong season for the Aussie, who had the 5th best car on the grid, and still managed to get 2 podiums at the Eiffel Grand Prix and at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Imola. He also had regular finishes within the top 5, which helped him secure P5 in the Drivers' Championship, in what was a very strong season. Mid-2020, while he was performing really well in Renault, he announced his move to McLaren for the years to come. It seemed like a step forward at the time. However, his 2021 season was not easy. It had its absolute high in Monza, finishing 3rd in the sprint race and then winning the race after Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen collided on what was McLaren's first race win since 2012. However, the rest of the season was not particularly good. His teammate Lando Norris beat him constantly and, despite not being able to win any race, was on the podium 4 times. The Honey Badger ended up P8 in the championship, 4 to 5 points behind Norris in P6. In 2022, Daniel is struggling very much. McLaren's performance has been affected by the new regulations, but Lando Norris is still getting a lot more from the car than what Daniel is capable of doing. Also, with his poor performance and the chaos in the grid for the 2023 seats, it is unsure what the future will hold for him. Only time will tell where we will see him next year. Where do you think Danny Ric will end up in 2023? Will he continue in McLaren? Will he go back to Alpine? Also, do you think he will have the chance to have a go at the championship again before the end of his career? Let us know in the comments section below. This being it for today. If you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss any of the future uploads. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.